I'm now speaking with Phil Ferguson with the Fort Wayne Boys.
Anthony Wayne Area Council, Boy Scouts of America.
What is that again now?
Anthony Wayne Area Council, Boy Scouts of America.
Okay, now tell me a little bit about this organization. Because we're down here at the Urban League right now, and how long have you been building a group of young men here to be part of this organization?
Well, I took it over about 3 years ago. So I've been coming over here for the last 3 years. Before then, it was done by another coordinator.
Okay, well let me back up a little bit. With the this organization with the Boy Scouts, how does what are your goals in working with such young men? Because I see that you have kindergartens and first graders.
Yeah, the program is geared for several different age groups. Starts at kindergarten and goes through high school. As a matter of fact, there's a group of kids called Explorers or Venture Scouts that actually goes through age 21. The whole idea of scouting is to build character in young men. In a nutshell, teach boys how to become men, showing them character, showing them leadership, showing them loyalty, showing them how to be trustworthy. I mean, the Scout laws, Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. If a kid puts those into his life, he's a well-rounded young man that can go and do anything that he chooses to.
Well, as you're working with these younger people, because I see that a lot of younger people really gravitate after you, kindergarten, first, second, third graders. What do you communicate with them to get them ready for what you're doing?
Well, it has to be fun for them. So I try to keep it energetic. I try to keep it exciting. I try to have fun with them. At the same time, I have to instill values. I have to make sure they're following rules, that they're doing the things that I expect them to do, giving. For instance, when we do the flag, pledge to the flag, when they have to show reverence and respect for that flag and understand why. That becomes my job. My job is to teach them these matters of respect, how to respect authority, how to respect and understand what it means to say the pledge, and what it means to be an American, what it means to be a young black American, both good and bad.
So, tell me something, because I feel a lot of passion coming out of you about this program. How did you first get involved with the Boy Scouts?
Wow. It goes back to when I was about 11, 12-year-old kid in Los Angeles, California. A friend of mine asked me to join his troop, and I've been in scouting ever since. I've gone through the ranks up through the rank of Life Scout, one step just below Eagle. Eagle is the highest rank you can get in scouting as a boy. Then as I became a young adult, I became an assistant scoutmaster for my original scoutmaster. And then as I moved from Los Angeles to Texas, each time I get to a new place, for some reason I get found out that I have scouting skills, and I end up becoming part of the scouting program. So it comes back from a kid born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, was able to navigate my way through high school, Crenshaw High School, Bloods, Crips territory, gangbangers. I didn't have any time for that because I was too involved in scouting. I was doing all kinds of things, camping, hiking, fishing, you name it. I was doing it, and I didn't have time to hang out in the street and do it and get caught up in the gangs. I found a different gang. I found the scouting gang, a gang that had positive values. And because I was such an active scout, during my time in Los Angeles, I got exposed to some opportunities that a lot of kids never get to do. Ride around with presidents of the Pacific Bell Telephone and different other corporations. They used to invite me with them because they was a positive young black kid doing something good, and it gave me a lot of exposures. I got to represent Los Angeles and met Gerald Ford at the White House, representing the Los Angeles Area Explorers Post-Presidents Conference. It was just an awesome experience for me, and I value the time that I spent with my scoutmaster and him coming to pick me up and take me to meetings and spending his time with me and then treating me like one of his boys even when I was at his house. It was just unreal. And as I got older, I realized he gave a lot to me. He gave me a lot. In fact, if you look at my DNA, you're going to find some Al Wilson DNA. Some of the things that I do are based on what I learned from Mr. Wilson and his wife, Kay. So I feel obligated to give back. I feel obligated to give what I got. I feel because Mom didn't have a lot of time, but Al had time. Kay had time. And I appreciate them, so I've got to give back to what was given to me.
As you traveled around with different scouting programs, how are the kids different, if they are different, from one locale to another?
Oh, you can go right here in Fort Wayne and see the difference, because I have 17 units that I visit on a weekly basis. Between me and my team, there's 17 units that we see, and you can see the difference coming from North Fort Wayne to the south side of Fort Wayne. The difference is parent engagement, parent training, and lack of parent training. So somebody's got to stand in the gap and work for our boys. Somebody's got to stand in the gap and show our boys that there's a different way. Somebody's got to be there that has a positive role model. And I hope to God, and I pray on a daily basis, that I can give some guidance to these kids, some direction, some sense of loyalty, some sense of worth, some sense of yeah, you can be anything you want to be if you put your mind to it, and don't let anybody tell you different. As a matter of fact, Psalms 139:14 says, "You are fearfully and wonderfully made." So don't let anybody tell you that you can be less than you are, because God put a plan. When he knitted you together in your mother's womb, he had a plan for your life. It is our job to fulfill that plan and to help young men find their goal in life and become productive citizens.
I've noticed that, when you're working with younger people, they're great today, and tomorrow they're off in left field someplace. How do you avoid frustrations?
It's impossible. It's funny you should mention that. I just taught us a lesson on Sunday dealing with the life of Joseph and all the pains that he went through. But one thing that was consistent in Genesis, starting with chapter 37, every time Joseph had a success or people saw, they would say, but God was with him. So I have to remember that even though I may not see the fruits of my labor today, but I'm planting a seed. And I understand that that my responsibility is to plant the seed. Making it grow is on God. He asked me to go out and plant the seed. So all I have to do, my job is to be out there, be available, and try not to let, for lack, and I don't want to get too preachy on you, but I don't want to let the enemy win. I've been given a mission. This is what I want to do. I can't let the frustration stop me from doing it. Yeah, sometimes it gets tough. Sometimes I go away from even the urban league angry because I don't think I'm getting through. And then I've got people like Justice Smith who follows me around on town, calls me on the weekends. Hey, Mr. Phil, what are you doing? And I'm trying to figure out what's an 11-year-old boy wanting to hang around with a 60-year-old man for. Well, we do things. We go fishing. We go shooting archery. We shoot BB guns. He comes to my house. I have a racetrack set up. We do things, the things that he wouldn't normally get to do. And I think it's a joy. I enjoy it. I like having the time to spend with young men, trying to get them to understand that life's got a plan for them. And I'd rather them take advantage of the positives as opposed to get caught up in the negatives.
I've noticed that a lot of times younger people, in fact, when I was in high school, I knew guys who had never seen a lake right here in Indiana. So you take these kids here, or you will be taking them around to visit the natural beauty of Fort Wayne and Indiana?
Well, I have a theory that if I get you to go camping with me once, you'll be hooked for life. Most of these kids have never seen anything but asphalt and concrete. You get them out in the wilderness, and where they look up at the sky and see all the stars in the middle of the night, and sleeping in a tent that they put up, cooking meals that they've cooked, getting in a boat, and they paddle it across the lake. They learn how to swim. They learn how to do different skills. It blows their mind. Once you get them, and like with me, once I took that first camping trip, I was hooked for life.
So what are the, you don't see a major presence of the Boy Scouts, but I guess that's what you're doing is to increase their presence.
Well, for me, it's a little disheartening when I see, when you go to a lot of Scout functions and you look around the room and you can count the people of color, of any color, on one hand. It's usually, in Fort Wayne, it's predominantly, and I'm going to call it a white, I won't call it an institution, but they're taking advantage of a program that's over 100 years old. And my job is as outreach coordinator is to try to take the program and get the enthusiasm in our community, in areas where we're not reaching, and try to figure out what is it going to take to have our boys take advantage of a program that has been proven, has a track record of proving young men. We have presidents, we have astronauts, we have police chiefs that have all come through the program. Corporation presidents, you name it. they're there. Colin Powell, Boy Scout. Gerald Ford, Boy Scout. There are several individuals that are major in major corporations, major in military, in government, that came through the Boy Scouts, and it's a valued organization.
Just thinking here, at some point in the future, it might be pretty neat to have representatives from different groups across Fort Wayne to see if we can maybe do a group show with the different leaders across Fort Wayne. Because what I've noticed is a lot of times it takes younger people to explain things from their perspective to attract other younger people.
Well, yeah, and I would agree with you, because I know in the outreach program, like I told you before, I'm 60 years old, and there's between me and an 11-year-old, there's 50 years. So there's some language barriers. There's some I don't know, they talk a different language, they do a different thing. So I try to hire, as program age is what they're called, maybe someone in his 18 to 20-year-old that can relate closer to the younger guys. I feed into him, he feeds into the younger boys. But when that doesn't happen, I've got to step in and try to fill the gap.
So obviously you're communicating from the heart. That's probably why you can deal with all types of the issues that you're dealing with.
That it has to come from the heart. Without the drive, without the passion for it, you'd burn out in a week.
Okay, well, last thing here, what do you say to a parent, the first time that you meet one, about why they want to have their kid involved? What do you tell them succinctly?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, because it varies from kid to kid and situation. It depends on the kid. Is the kid doing well? Then let's improve him. If the kid's struggling, let's teach him some values. Let's teach him some responsibilities. How's he handling his schoolwork? Do you know that if he's doing the scouting stuff, his schoolwork is going to improve, because he's going to want to do his best? Because part of the scout oath, on my honor, I will do my best, not half step, but my best. And if I can get a kid to try and do his best in anything that he's doing, he's going to improve all over. If I can get a kid wanting to go out and do things besides sit at home and watch TV and play on video games, he's going to improve all over. Basketball coaches, football coaches, you name it, if they're doing their best, they succeed everywhere. The values that they learn in scouting will transcend anything that they do, whether it's school, whether it's work, whether it's playing a sport. If you're doing your best, you can't go wrong.
For parents who want to know more about what you're doing, how can you be contacted?
The best way to reach me is probably on my Scout cell, and I'll give that to you. It's 260-409-4323. I am the outreach coordinator for the Anthony Wayne Area Council Boy Scouts of America. And if you leave a message for me there, I'll get back to you as quick as I can.
Thank you very much.